Take two. Let's try this again. Welcome back to the Road Stories podcast. I'm your host, William. We are here with Walter Kenneth O'Dowd, the proprietor of the Mill Apothecary and Salon. If you're in St. Michael's, definitely come check them out. Emily even has art here for sale. Also, he is the co-founder of We'll See Expeditions, where he and his partner, John, will take you out to the mountains of Northern Virginia, kind of wherever you want to go, guide you around, make you some cool food, show you some fun stuff. He's actually given us spots to go check out, and they are legit. So, stamp of approval from the Adventure Fam Dam.
All right.
Walter, we know that you've traveled around. You've kind of lived 5 or 6 different lives at this point, as evidence in your tattoos. What is your road story?
Well, I got a handful of road stories, but I'll try and narrow it down. Essentially, I went on a pilgrimage of sorts, leaving San Diego after I shut my business down back in San Diego. My wife, girlfriend at the time, she had to button up a few things of herself. So me and my buddy went on this trip up to Idaho, Wyoming, Montana kind of area.
Yeah.
So this is before I used Onyx off-road, any of that kind of stuff. So it was just see a dirt road, go down it, see what's at the end of it.
Maybe a paper map might be involved.
Yeah, exactly. I'd maybe ask somebody that looks like they've done cool stuff. They got mud on their truck, so then I'd go whatever direction they told me.
Right.
So we bounced around a little bit, and we knew there was grizzlies and, that danger, but I've never really encountered them. I was usually good about buttoning up things in our camp.
Yeah.
And I'm traveling with my 2 dogs. We got one here, Ranger, the other one, Scout. And regardless, we're at camp one night in northern Idaho, I think it was. And usually the dogs are really good about alerting me if there's coyotes, people, a mouse. Yeah.
Right?
They hear anything and they'll bark, growl, whatever. And I woke up and I had to use the men's room, a tree, essentially. And I wake up and I look at the back of my truck, and I sleep inside of my 4Runner with the tailgate down. I have a bed put in there, and they both
go check out the rig rundown.
Yeah, that's a good little short video. We'll get another one together too of all the bells and whistles. So I lean up and I see both the dogs are like staring out the back window, and I'm like, what is it? And I'm talking full voice, like whatever.
Yeah.
And I swear they look back at me like, shut up. And usually when I sleep in the back of the truck, I don't do this anymore, but I would lightly rest the tailgate down, not hatch it, because I don't have a way to open it from the inside. Otherwise I have to crawl my 240-pound butt out the door. And so that way I can just kick the tailgate open and swing it up.
Sensible.
And so I kick it and it hits something, and then it gets slammed right back shut.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like, what the heck was that? And I look out the window. It's not super windy. Sometimes that would happen if it's like really high wind, whatever. So I reach up to the front of the truck. I turn on all the top lights. I have lights all around it. And I still don't see anything. So I'm like, and I can only get up so much. Like there's not a ton of headroom in there.
Yeah.
And right as I start to lean up, I see this head, like it was a grizzly bear. It's the size of a grizzly bear's head. And it comes right up into the space of the window. One of my dogs hops into the front seat of the car and just tugs. This one, Ranger, she comes up next to me. Usually they would bark. Yeah. They were quiet. They're like, we do not got this. Yeah. They're like, we're going to pass the baton to you and see what you do about it. So I freeze for a second. I have a radio to my buddy's Jeep. He's sleeping inside his Jeep. Thankfully, neither of us are tent camping at the time.
Right. Jesus.
And I'm like, hey, bud, you up? He's like, yeah, there's a grizzly in the back of your car. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Correct. We're having a staring contest right now.
Yes.
I'm quite aware.
And honestly, at that time, I wasn't too knowledgeable about grizzly bears and what they're capable of. I know that I don't want to spar with one. It seems like a good thing.
Yeah.
So I start the car. I grab my bear mace and my firearm at the time, which my firearm was a 9mm pistol. And
would only to have pissed it off?
Yes. And I had that conversation with a guy at a ammo shop or something, or gun shop down the road later on after I had that encounter. And start the car, and I have the bear mace, and I'm like, what am I going to do? So I honk the horn and I fire like a shot just out the door on the other side and shut the door as soon as I can. And this bear was is up on its hind legs. It's baring its teeth, like it's doing its thing. And I'm like, and I look back though, and after I honked the horn, he lost balance and he fell on his back. And he went from being like the most, or she, I don't know, I didn't get a good look at everything. Went from being the most intimidating thing I've ever seen in my life to the goofiest, like Smokey the Bear situation. And I mean, this bear was like on its back trying to like do a crunch to roll back over. And finally it gets up, and I swear it like looks back at me like, that was so embarrassing.
Like it knew. It was like,
it was like, man, I had him right.
I screwed this one. I'm out.
Right in there. And so the bear ends up scurrying off, and I go to radio my bud, and I'm like, well, I still got to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, can you like keep an eye out for me? Right. Usually I'd walk off to the woods or whatever. This time I'm like butted against the truck, and I'm just everything facing outward, doing my business. And luckily I didn't have an encounter during that. And but then the bear came back again that night.
That tracks they usually do.
Yeah, he was interested in something, and I wasn't sure what it was because I couldn't see, and I didn't feel like exploring in the middle of the night what the bear was interested in.
Right.
Because next thing you know, he'd be interested in me. And wake up the next morning, bear scurried off. He didn't mess with the car or anything. And I looked, and I had a pan down that we were cooking steaks in earlier that evening. And we cleaned it really well. We scraped it down, and I packed away all my stuff. But I tell you what, we were just cooking up a buffet for him. So he ended up running off, and that was good. But I still have that pan, and I love cooking out of it because I like to think that I shared it with a grizzly. And I don't like that. I mean,
well, you did.
I did. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so what did you guys like? Did you just decide like, fuck this, we're getting out of there? Or
so we waited till the next morning, light and everything. And usually we'd cook breakfast and do a whole thing and toss the ball for the dogs. And we're like, you know what? Maybe we should do a quick pack up, which if you know me, I'm very particular about everything going directly where it's supposed to go.
Oh yeah.
This time I was like, shove it in. Let's just take off.
Fucking, we're done here.
Yep. Wow. And then, then I go down to the ammo shop and ask like, well, what did this done? He's like, nothing. Yeah. Nothing at all.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing to that thing.
That's like, I had the same conversation with a guy when I bought my Colt 45. I was like, we're going up through, northern Montana and like just something for protection. And the guy was like, yeah, that'll protect you from other people, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Because there's only 6 in there. And if it's a pack of wolves, there's got to be more than 6. And if it's a bear, that ain't going to do shit unless you hit it square between the eyes. And the eyes. Well, and I was like, but makes me feel safe. But really, like bear safety is fucking for real.
Oh yeah. And I mean, when I talked to the guy, he said bear mace is going to be your best option. Clean it up. But he did sell me a 30 round magazine and grizzly rounds. And he's like, if you hit them all in the mouth, maybe. But honestly, preferably all jokes aside, I don't want to shoot a bear.
Yeah.
I'm out there. Like, that's their area. You know? It's like, next time I just won't leave a pan out and hopefully clean up better. And I mean, if it comes to it, mace, whatever we got to do. But trying to avoid it.
I feel like everyone has that experience when they go up there, though. Yeah. Well, maybe not that like full on grizzly experience, but like when we first went up there in our first rig, we rolled up into a camp and the guy's like, he's like, are you sleeping in that thing? And we had a Chevy cargo van. I forget what it was called. And we were like, oh yeah, same thing. We just like flopped a bed in the back, right? Yeah. Like, super bare bones rig. And he was like, oh good. Because we don't allow any soft side camping out here. Not even a pop up.
Oh yeah.
Because the bears will just go right through the canvas. Right through it. And then they're in your RV. So and we like didn't think about that at all. We just like rolled up there. We were just like, this is fine, whatever. And he's like, do you have bear mace? We're like, no. He's like, come over here to the gift shop.
Let me show you all the accoutrement.
He's like, plops it on the counter. He's like, you're gonna want that. And we were like, oh shit.
But, do we have time to how that segues into another story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this whole road trip was a ton of fun, and it was full of beautiful views, all kinds of awesome stuff, not just terrifying and scary things. But that makes for good stories.
Yeah.
So after I started doing some more research on grizzlies, seeing what they're capable of, and I see videos of them peeling a car door like it's a piece of tinfoil.
Yeah.
And so for the rest of the time, I was like, all right, noted.
You're sleeping with the vermints.
Yeah, I thought I was like quasi safe inside the truck. I was like, well, what's he gonna do? But I was like trying to clean up and do things better. So at that point, me and my buddy Elliot, he ended up partying off going to Oregon, and I went on my own trip, just me and the dogs.
Yeah.
And so I'm exploring again. I think this is somewhere north of Yellowstone in Montana at this point. And I'm also used to living and camping in Southern California, all that stuff. The weather's not brutal down there. I mean, it's either hot or a little bit cool.
Yeah,
like that's
65 to 75 every day of the year.
Yep. So I'm driving on these back roads, no cell service, nothing. I find a little thing on my maps or whatever. It looks like it goes to a mountain peak. And I'm like, oh, that'll be awesome. And plus I wanted to get some phone service so then that way I can talk to my wife and, just catch up and tell her about.
Yeah. Let her know you're alive.
Yeah, exactly. And so I start driving up there, and it looks like some clouds are rolling in. I'm like, all right, rainy night, underneath, the awning, cookout. And I get up to this beautiful mountain peak and cook a burger or whatever. It doesn't matter. And it starts just storming.
Yeah.
Just absolutely pissing. And I should have brought in the awning at this point, but by that time, lightning was already striking all over the mountain.
Yeah, when you get up above tree line, that's a fucking for real thing.
Yeah. And
you're now the tallest thing.
Yeah. And I'm sitting up there in a metal truck with metal poles and all this stuff. And I hypothetically thought, I was like, well, if I get in the truck, the tires should ground me. I don't know anything about this stuff, but maybe. And so I'm up there, and I mean, the car's just rocking. The awning's tied down. It's not flipping over or anything, but I mean, it is just ripping. The whole truck is just going crazy. And I didn't sleep a wink that night. And my dog Scout is just losing her mind. So then wake up the next morning, and I mean, it was beautiful. Birds are chirping. It's absolutely gorgeous out. And I'm like, perfect.
It's like that after storm calm where you're like,
I was like, oh, thank goodness. And I mean, it was like dewy. I was like kind of above the cloud line, and I start driving, and it was a one way in, one way out, and the switchbacks headed up to the top of the mountain. And as soon as I start driving, I just realized that all the soil was on some sort of bedrock, and it was like basically driving on bacon fat. I had mud terrains. They got completely caked up and just turned into slicks. And this is up on the very top of this hill, mountain ridge, whatever. And I start losing it a little bit. And I'm like, all right, take it easy. I'm just going to keep creeping. And then the car just goes sideways and just starts drifting down the side of this mountain. And I mean, it goes sloping, and then it gets really steep, and then it's trees, like big trees. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to go sideways at these trees, total my car.
Hopefully the trees catch you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like,
praying that's the best case scenario.
Right.
Luckily, the truck gets stuck on this like one bush that it's the only bush in the whole hill. And it just catches it before it starts getting really steep.
Yeah.
But there's not a ton of trees up there, and I have my winch. So finally I'm like, okay, I'll winch myself out. And I start winching myself out. I get out. It's fine. The rope barely reaches the closest tree.
Yeah.
Winch myself out. I'm creeping even more, trying to get out. And I get to where the switchbacks start, and a whole switchback washed off the mountain. It's just gone.
Jesus.
and I'm like, okay. I'm like,
then you're like running. You're like, how much is it going to be to get a helicopter out here? That's probably the only option.
Oh yeah. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I mean, it's probably been an hour and a half of just back roads before I even saw a gas station.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't even know how many miles I was out there, whatever. And so I start looking around, and I'm like, all right, this is going to be the move. This winch, it's supposed to hold 10,000 pounds. My truck's about 5. I'm like, we're going to belay the truck off the mountain. And there was a big tree right at the head of this.
Perfect.
It was a big boy. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a cliff, but I mean, it was just a mudslide.
Yeah, you weren't driving down it.
I wasn't driving down it. Yeah, there's no way. So I turn the truck around, hook it up, and as I'm hooking up the winch around the tree, I see on the tree that there's claw marks.
Oh.
And there's very fresh scat
Oh God.
Which I just did all this research during the storm that night. And I'm like, oh, God.
So now all the YouTube videos are replaying in your mind.
You know?
Fuck.
I have my bear mace, my firearm, that's not going to do anything. The dogs are in the truck just like, oh, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
And luckily, I don't run into a bear, but the whole time I'm heightened. And I'm sitting there starting to winch backwards and hang backwards. And I go down like the edge of the threshold of where the washout is.
Yeah.
And it slides over and the whole truck goes like a pendulum, goes, and I'm like, it's holding.
Come on, winch,
all right. And literally both the dogs are sitting on the rear window.
Jeez.
Like just, it's like,
Yeah.
there's
It's like that.
Yeah, it's like that. And then I winch my way down and I finally get to flat ground. And I survived that evening of storm and ridiculous belaying my
Jesus.
Forerunner off the side of a mountain.
Well, you get to tell people that you belayed your car.
I did.
Yep. Which is pretty sick.
It was pretty cool.
God damn, dude. That's awesome. What, I mean,
And shout out to Smitty Built Winches. People have things to say about it, but that was a synthetic nylon winch. I still use it.
Dude.
It works.
people talk shit on Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has saved my ass.
Yep.
So many times.
Yep. And especially if you're on a budget. I mean, I got it on sale for $400.
Exactly.
That was worth every penny.
Yep. That's $400 you ever spent.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Harbor Freight. Sponsor us.
Yeah, thank you, please.
That's awesome. But that's, I guess, like the whole point of these stories is like, go out and travel. Yeah, you're going to find yourself in a sideways backwards situation, face to face with a grizzly bear, belaying your car off a hill, but like makes for good stories. And it makes you like engineer and figure out like ways to get out of those situations.
Well, I think
my coolest part.
My favorite part about doing these things, and I mean, maybe I'm just a few screws loose. I think you can relate.
Yep.
It makes life easier.
Yeah.
So it's like, for one, I like to hyper focus in those situations to problem solve. Nobody's going to help you. Like sometimes there's the awesome, great, good Samaritans, and I have those stories too, that they come out and save your butt. But I like coming back from those things, and I'm able to share those stories. For one, they're hilarious. My nieces get a kick out of it, and friends and clients, all that stuff. But it's like anytime something that I feel like people that don't have those kind of experience have a normal bump in the road, it can send them off into the ether.
Oh yeah.
It's like they lose it. And I think with me having those kind of experiences, it's like it makes the mundane bumps in the road very manageable. It makes it easy to climb your way out. Not to get too philosophical, but
no, I totally agree. And there's Michael Pollan talks about this with like doing hallucinogenics, how if you go and you force your brain to be in a different place or in an extreme environment, basically it's like pouring fresh snow on a hillside where you used to have tracks, and that was like your tendencies in everyday life. But if you get that like fresh coat of snow, you can like look at the world differently. So like we were
able to pick your own path.
Same thing. We were in Baja in that Chevy Express van that we had up on the side of a hill. And I was like, I think I got this. And then it just slid sideways. And as I'm sliding, all I could think was, there's no cell service. I haven't seen another human being in 2 days. Like, we're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Mexico. Like, luckily we had friends with us. I was like, if this thing rolls, I'm going to torch it and call up insurance and be like, it got stolen. And just be like, whoops. Whoopsies. But like, got done with that. Yeah. High five. Low five. Got done with that. And like, it really does, like, it makes the grass greener and the sky bluer and all that on the other side of it. And then when like, you get like a flat tire on the side of the road, you're like, whatever, not a spare on there. Like, could be worse. I could be winching my fucking Forerunner off the mountain right now.
Exactly.
But yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's why we do adventure and the whole thing. So
for sure.
Awesome, mate. I appreciate you. Great story.
Of course. Appreciate you having me out. I like sharing these.
Yeah. Do you got anything you want to plug?
Well, once again, if you're in St. Michael's, I'd love you to stop by and check out my wife's apothecary. It's called the Mill Salon and Apothecary. We're at 605 South Talbot Street. We're right in the old mill building. Yep. She makes everything in-house. And if it doesn't have our label on it, it has local artists like Will's wife. She not only does cards, she makes these awesome baby onesies and all these custom stamps. I could go on for days. But regardless, if you like handmade stuff, that is really good. Check that out. And then if you want to go on an adventure and experience some of these stories yourself, join us at We'll See Expedition. You can find our Instagram. It's just that handle with underscores in between the words. And shoot me a DM and tell me what you're thinking, and I'll put something together. John and I can help you out with it.
Hell yeah. You might even get to winch your car off the side of a mountain.
Yeah, if you're really lucky.
That's if you're lucky.
Yep.
And obviously you could tell you'd be in good hands because you have done that.
Yep.
So anyway, awesome, mate.
All right.
Coming on.
Thank you.
Cheers.
See you. Just 1 second. Nobody else should be here right now.
Technically the apothecary is
We'll be right
closed.
back.
And pause.